Reytan, Day 2. The warm, gin-wet grass, with surplice wash, damp cloister fret, and shade for to quash the airs of dudgeon, now healing in a forge where curates poured their blood on guards of the bastion gorge, became a peddler's morgue of razor nails, accordion rags, itinerant raves and rogues, marley bones and stags. And the creek where the frenzied waters once had crumbled solid boulders smelt of sour, jaundiced hot air as it rested on its sunken shoulders. The needle-eyed vanity of the royal hearse-monger, wishing every corpse to be stable a mile longer. The flinty oaf, whose waxen feet trudged through sable groves, scavenging for human meat, begged for more skulls with a dagger in his limb, cleaving in a lull, in the morning's twilight grim. In his peat moss home of methane vale, where cripples roamed, blood drained, spectre pale, he sat astride with bile in his soul, eyes green and wide, teeth black as coal. His hands choke in the last breaths of the keepers of troth, whose deaths filled the oath with heartfelt soothing warmth. He then, after resting twice, fed his carcass with granum chrysalids and halted mice. The gangrene on his foot was like the burnt grass outside, filthy and sad. Such was the picture of an ungodly cad, whose rough words of stricture reached a jester's ear, who then part through spite, part through fear, with a fake ally of a knight, wormed inside the royal chambers. There they met the king, and wishing to sting by slander and gain bigger wings, framed a canvas of verity with most heinous deceit, which is the natural propensity of every zealous hypocrite. And when it was done and said, and the king did fathom, the jester crooked his head and spat out his venom. The king, who was of mongrel breed, perused the knight for assurance, whom trusted he in every deed and shared his every abhorrence. The armour, though beaten and vile, straightened in one specious twitch. Thence, with a mind not short of deviant guile, made attempt at an ingratiating speech. And as of ample anatomy was he, and famed for his repute, listened the king with glee to the grovelling brute. The jester sneered at this while, and breathed the heavy air, his teeth, stained with yellow bile, chewed on soily hair that crept from underneath an old motley hood down to the shabby black woolen cloak, the only tokens of his livelihood. And when the knight had spoke, the scornful eyes of the royal fool sneered at his conceited master, pinched at his cloak of wool, and in a mien fit only for jesters, bowed his head below the knees, where he stayed till pain was showing. By then the news had spread like disease, and soon every aging casuist who bore the badge of Themis was calling for the hearse-monger to be brought upon the premises to face punishment far worse than even the fiercest gods would pucker the brow at. But the minds of such men invest in deeds most foul, if it fit their purpose. Thus he was rashly summoned, and so carried in fetters under the grimly command of the fatuous knight, lacerated at the shoulders, a design to bait his might. Anger smouldering from underneath a big black mop of withered hair, and tethered he was to a martyr post, where they smeared him with ordure. Amongst the deadly nightshade, a crooked mile away, a pair of hollow eyes, like blades, was piercing the festive air. Not now, not then, but ever timeless the beat of the heart is, when meat eats meat. Power sacred when it is to win, the jester knew that, and he did grin. Of ignoble birth he was conceived, destined to serve the higher echelons. Reytan, they called him, and he agreed. 'Twas a name he would depend on. Many a year he spent at the court, watching the wheels fall off the king's cart. The knight was his enemy, the man who could thwart every desire he had at his heart. The royal herdsmonger got under the feet of both Reytan's and the knight's ambitions, so they conspired to serve defeat. His perpetual wink for them was a welcome addition. The jester's orb now got smaller by one, yet 'twas still a dark, heavy mass, and right at the top sat one crack-brained man, the boor and the lout that was King Sass.